We spoke to Darren Clark a little earlier on the program as well, and he said that what he's seen in the town is what happens every time there's a Prime Ministerial visit, is that they hurriedly try and clean up the town. There's been buses of people being moved back out to the town camps. Does that equate with what you've seen in the past, and what's the motivation behind that, and who's doing it?
Oh, yeah, look, it looked like certainly, there was footage, obviously, on the action for Alice Page. Police are doing a sweep to make sure the town is cleaned up. We also know that because of the curfews, that there are young people that aren't aware that the curfew has lifted. So, we haven't returned to that sort of horrific scenes yet, although every time we go to bed at night, every bump in the night, you wake up thinking, is that somebody, breaking into my household this time? This is how locals live here, and yeah, there's always a clean-up whenever there's a significant dignitary attending, and obviously the Prime Minister's coming. So town is made to look like it's peaceful and there's not much going on.
Right. Okay. But I guess it doesn't really matter in a sense, because Anthony Albanese, if he hasn't seen the footage or the reporting that Matt Cunningham has brought, or people speaking like you over the last couple of months about the crime problem, I mean, it's not really going to have a huge effect, is it?
Look, not at the moment. Locals know what is happening on the ground. I mean, I want to understand why the Prime Minister's even here. What can he do that he's supposed to have done a long time ago that he's not been doing? We know that there's a territory election coming up in August. We know that there's been 2 local candidates announced. I'd put my money on the fact that it's promoting those candidates more than it's actually addressing the issues that we continue to be faced with.
One more thing that Matt Cunningham said on this program just a little earlier, he had one bit of advice, and he says the person that he should meet is Mark Lockyer. Now, it's my understanding that you spoke about this very man in your maiden speech.
Absolutely. Mark has lived his life in a town camp in Alice Springs. It was his niece that was, when the very day that the alcohol bans were lifted, restrictions were lifted, it was his niece that was brutally shot and killed by her partner and her baby as well. There's rallies going on for DV at the moment. We've been screaming for years that the circumstances for the Indigenous women in remote communities and places like Alice Springs has been absolutely at crisis point. We've been begging to be heard, and for Indigenous women, there's never this sort of level of rally that takes place around the country. But Mark Lockyer is certainly someone who knows that issue. It's close to his heart, and someone that definitely the Prime Minister needs to listen to.
Jacinta, thank you. The Prime Minister will be there this afternoon.